Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackmon.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackmon, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackmon for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Listen, subscribe to Bucher and Friends. It's Bucher and Friends because he's selfish. It's not Bucher and Blackmon. It's just called that.
I said, by the way, we're recording now. Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackmon, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. That was Will Blackmon, and the reason he was jumping in ahead of me before the intro is because we just did a little IG live to warm up for the recording of this podcast, which is coming on the heels of the Browns 21-7 win over the Steelers. That, of course, is not what everybody's talking about. Conversation is about Myles Garrett taking Mason Rudolph's own helmet to Mason Rudolph, the Steelers quarterback's head. Marcus Pouncey then jumping in, getting on top of Myles Garrett, kicking him, punching him, and it still remains to be seen what punishment is going to come down. But you were saying in the IG Live, Will, and welcome to Will. By the way, you can see both of us on FS1. You could have seen us there today. You can catch us there on air. You can read me on Bleacher Report. You can follow me on Twitter at Rick Bucher and on IG at Rick_Bucher. He's Will Blackmon at Will Blackmon, both IG and Twitter. And you can also catch him on Fox Radio. Okay. You were saying in the IG Live that you believe that both guys will be suspended for the rest of the year, both Myles Garrett and Marcus Pouncey. Is there any way in which Marcus Pouncey may get a little bit less since he wasn't the instigator? And as we talked about, it's sort of the unwritten rule that if anybody's going after the quarterback, you as a lineman are going to take up for him.
No, there's no mosaic law in the NFL. I don't think so. I believe if he ran up to him and pushed him over and maybe swung a punch, he might get like maybe half the suspension or whatever it is. But the fact that he continued punch, kick, a bunch of stuff and really fought him, I think is totally going to be equal suspension. I think they're both done.
What's worse, the punch or the kick?
The kick.
Yeah, and it's funny, but it just is. Like people
the
just think that's.
Yeah, the kick's always worse. It doesn't matter. The kicking is malicious.
Right.
And he was down, and somebody was on top of him too, and he kicked him. So
right.
I think he just blacked out because he saw his QB get hit with the helmet and then just lost it.
Right. So by the way, and for anybody who caught it, Will referenced mosaic law. There's no mosaic law in the NFL, which is the law of Moses. And I have to tell you that I had to go and look that up. And are you, so do you want to give a definition or you want me to give a definition?
I mean, feel free.
Well, I'm still looking it up. So if you have it there, I'm trying to get it. I mean, it's not eye for an eye, which is the first thing I thought with Old Testament, but I'm just looking for.
That's what it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cause I'm looking this up and this is pretty extensive.
It's not taking you to the.
It's not giving me a very simple description. So, in any event, there is no mosaic law in the NFL. That's brought to you by Will Blackmon. We also talked on the IG a little bit about the number of helmet collisions, and I wanted to get your take on that, especially when it came to Demarius Randall. And I'll just put it in these terms. I didn't on the IG Live, but I will here. Was that an avoidable hit?
It was an avoidable hit.
It was.
Yeah, it was an avoidable hit. It just, he went in. Here's the thing. He went in with his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He did connect with the shoulder. It's just the fact that the front of his helmet hit the guy in the jaw too. Hit him on the side of the helmet. So that's what was tough.
Right. And those hits, I mean, I think the worst hits are, as I understand it, side of the helmet, the temple, or back of the helmet, because it causes your brain to hit the front of your skull. I think I think I have that right. That those are the most damaging concussions that you can get. I don't know
because if you slam your head backwards, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that might be worse. I knew it's one direction or the other. That's really bad. And I think you are right. I think it's the back of the brain.
Yeah. So it's just tough. And also too, like I mentioned before, these helmets are getting larger. It's really hard to keep your head out of a hit if these are massive helmets.
Well, that's the thing is they're getting bigger, supposedly to provide more protection, but they're not
more contact.
Yeah, and you still see guys that like they're out.
Guys are getting laid out more. I feel like there is no helmet that can prevent a concussion.
Right.
You may find some that maybe would absorb, maybe lessen shaking of the brain, because that's what it is. It's when the brain is shook.
Right.
That's what causes the concussion.
It gets shook inside the brain pan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, man. But also too, a big deal too is the art of tackling is lost.
Well,
like the grassroots of football was straight fundamentals. And I understand, there's no more 2-a-days. You can't hit in practice anymore. You can't do all these things. But that's why developmental stages, when you're younger, like you get to the pros because you're a pro. Like right. You should know how to. I know the game's different. Guys are bigger, guys are faster, but you sure already have like the fundamental things. That's when I got drafted my rookie year, I prided myself on the fact that I knew how to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to form. I knew how to square up. I knew how to wrap up. And I hit whoever.
Well, that's why I felt in watching tonight, and in part because the Browns were down to their third and fourth string guys, losing a couple guys to injury. That's
a lot of guys, yeah.
That it was sloppy tackling technique that was resulting in some of these collisions. The way guys were coming in, I just, if you're unfamiliar with any game, your technique is not on point, or you're trying to play catch up, then you're not in position. You end up getting yourself or somebody else hurt. I just felt in some of those instances, just the way guys were coming in, it just looked like sloppy body control that was contributing to it.
It is.
Okay.
It is. And you have to, once again, you have to emphasize on aiming where you hit. Like aim for the thighs, aim for the hips, aim for the waist. Like you have to lower your targets. I think with a team, this is just my assumption, with a team that's struggling or trying to figure it out, I know they're so focused on making sure we're doing the right things game plan wise, make sure we know where we're supposed to be. And then the fundamentals in terms of tackling aren't emphasized as much. I remember when I was on the Seahawks, we would always watch a video on how to tackle. I mean, for crying out loud, the Seahawks have an instructional video that every single high school kid in America, in the world, has watched. Hawk tackling. It's an instructional video by Rocky Seto, who was the safety coach at the time. It is how to tackle. It's on YouTube. Everyone go see it. And everyone's like tracked in their hip. Saying grab, wrap, roll, strike with this. It's brilliant. It's to teach guys how to tackle, how to keep your head out of it, and be safe.
So, I have to ask this with the number of guys that have gone down and the shape that you're in. Did you at this point think that you might be back in the league?
There's a chance. Yeah.
So there's still a chance. You're still looking at this as the possibility that you might play the season.
Is the reason why there's still a possibility because there has been interest. And in my position right now, I'm all over the place with TV. I'm still training. I don't have anything solidified. And the fact that I have interest from multiple parties, I'm entertaining all interest.
Got you.
So I did work out for the Raiders when I was in London.
Okay.
I did a workout for them, and they have me on the short list. I'm pretty much like on a list where if a team is pushing for the playoffs and they want to bring in some more veterans, that's kind of where I fit in. So interest is still legit, even though they signed DJ Swearinger when Carl Joseph went down. It's still there, so I'm still entertaining it.
Is there when you know that's going on? Do you watch teams different, knowing that you might be playing with them?
I watch football as a whole, but I pay more attention to that team.
Yeah. Like
the past month, I did not miss a Raider game.
Right.
Because I want to see how they are. Like, what are they doing? How are they playing? And yeah, if somebody does go down, I'm kind of like, I want to know what's going on.
Right.
So I have been specifically watching Raiders game. Like I have the split TV where you can watch multiple games. So I always have the Raiders on one for sure, and then whoever else on the other one, I'll switch around.
I would have to think that your workouts are different too. Like you're working out to stay in shape versus working out knowing that you could get a call at any minute. It has to be different.
No, the main thing for me is just to just make sure my wind is good. I do a lot of high intensity cardio. I do a lot of running, and just make sure that's good. I'll do some strengthening stuff here and there just to make sure I have the strength. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to run and be in shape to run. So and yeah, my workouts are different because once I'm finished playing, I'm taking this weight off.
Right.
I got to get my TV body right. I can't be out here 250. I can't be 215 when I'm done playing. I don't want to be 215.
Is that so what are you rocking right now?
I'm about 217.
Really? And so what would you play at?
Anywhere between 215 and 210, like anywhere in that range.
But there's good weight and there's bad weight. Are you good weight right now or are you bad weight?
Yeah, I'm lean because I can still fit my clothes. Like I probably like being around 208. So I have clothes when I was like 208.
Yeah.
That I fit in perfectly still. So I'm lean.
Okay.
I'm all muscle, bro.
All right. I'm not questioning that. I saw you today.
I know you're not. I'm just letting you know.
Okay. All right. Another guy who's got an important workout coming out.
The suit I had on today that you saw, I had to get it taken in.
Yeah, it looked like you took it in.
It was snug.
It was snug.
It was nice.
It was a nice suit. You were dressed to the nines. I'll give that to you. I thought that my ensemble today was particularly sharp as well. Thank you to the wardrobe ladies at Fox. I leave them with some things, but I've left it to them after the last couple times. I allow them to pick out like the combinations.
As you should.
And they have not steered me wrong. They are good.
As you should.
Yeah. Well, I kind of I enjoy putting together my own. I get some satisfaction out of that, out of figuring out some things, and but I have ceded control to them, and they have taken care of me. Another guy who's got a big workout coming up is Colin Kaepernick, and I made the case today on Speak for Yourself that he shouldn't be doing this. That he is set up to fail. Doesn't know.
I can't believe they gave that to you and not me. That's unbelievable.
See, you know what? And by the way, for those who didn't listen to the IG Live, this is what was funny, is that Will and I were never on the set at the same time. And any segment that he was not in, when he did get on the desk, he would somehow find a way to make a comment or give his opinion on whatever the topic was when he wasn't on. Yeah, the previous one. And Will, I think Jason even called you out at one point. Like,
so
okay, that's a good point. It's off the subject, but
he did call me out.
It was funny. And we didn't talk about it, but I knew that that's what caused you to talk about that, because you were upset that I was up there talking about Cap. Well,
No, I wasn't hating the fact that you talked about Cap. It's the fact that I have a great resource about this whole Cap thing that I want to get out.
okay. That being what?
So, perfect. Bucher and Blackmon, why not?
Yes.
When I pulled up to Fox Studios, you text me, "Hey, are you here yet?"
Yeah.
And my response was a little delayed.
Yes.
Because right when you text me, I got a call from a no caller ID, a blocked number.
Okay.
Roger Goodell.
What?
Yeah, the commish, exactly.
The commish called you.
The commish called me because I texted him yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, I want to know, like, was this a mutual thing between you and Cap's people to schedule this workout?" And he was like, "Nah, like it was me. I decided it's the best chance for him to showcase. He could take it or leave it." And I was like, "Hey, is it cool if I say that we spoke?" And I mentioned that. He goes, "Well, in that case, we should speak then." So I was like, "Give me a call tomorrow. I have this window open. I'm driving." And he didn't say anything. And I get a call from no call ID, which I never answer.
Right.
And it was him.
So you did answer it this time. You had a feeling.
I had a feeling, man.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I had a feeling somebody important is calling me. So yeah, it was my boy Raj.
Your boy Raj.
So I go, "Yo, what up, Raj?" That's how I talk to him.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I promise you. I say.
You said, "What up?" You said to the commissioner of the NFL, "What up, Raj?"
Yes, because even when I text, I go, "Yo, Raj." You think that's hilarious?
And does he text back, "What up, Will?"
Oh, there's only one Will. Yeah. Yeah. So
Raj is like, yo.
Yo, so he was like, "Hey, what's happening?" He's like, basically, his representatives came out and said like, "Hey, no one's been like getting back to us offering to work out." So Roger thought it was a great idea. Like, "Hey, let's give him this day, take it or leave it. It's an opportunity, period." And he called people around the league, said, "Hey, this is what's going on. Team's gonna send representatives," and he's not gonna release a list of who's sending who just to protect the teams, but he said, "This is what it is."
Okay, so he's doing in Roger's mind, he's doing Colin a solid. But I can't help but feel this is really, okay, you know what? Let's put this to bed. Let's not have this continue. We're going to give you a shot to show what you can do.
And be quiet.
It's been 3 years. And then we can move on.
By the way, that too, this is not me, once again, being a hater and dissing Cap. I just feel like working out for 3 years, 5 days a week at 4:30 a.m. is a stretch.
You're not buying that?
No. Only person that I know that has worked 4:30 a.m. for 3 years or more, 5 days a week, is my dad. And my dad was a correctional officer at our state prison, the ACI, in Cranston, Rhode Island. My dad got up every day to go to work because he had to.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad's similar.
Ain't no pro athlete getting up at 4:30 a.m. for 3 years every day because he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better look like Captain America on Saturday. Because that's what he looked like before he stopped playing. Dude was lit up.
Okay. I still stand by this.
That he shouldn't do it?
Yes, that he shouldn't.
But he wants to play. That's the whole thing. He wants to play.
Okay, so then what was
my thing is like, why didn't he go to the other leagues?
Yeah.
Why didn't he go AAF? Why isn't he going
XFL? XFL probably wouldn't go down that road. Unless he said, like, if he really wanted to play.
Why wouldn't they go down that road? That is money.
No. They wouldn't go down that road. Because
people.
Because Vince McMahon has decided. I think Vince McMahon wants the XFL, has looked at it and say, we're going to be all the things that the other league is not. We're not going to have any politics. Like, we're not going to come anywhere near that. That turned people off. We want to turn people on. We're not going to have...
That will turn people on.
What's that?
That will turn people on.
Yeah, I think there's mixed opinion about that. As far as like whether people would tune in to watch Colin, or they would look at it and go, "Oh, the XFL's just like the NFL." Like, why are they? And that's my issue with this, is that I looked at where this started, and I was a huge advocate of Colin Kaepernick and what he was attempting to do, and it made me angry that I felt like his purpose and his cause was hijacked, and it became something else entirely. The debate and the conversation became it was focused on something else.
It did. The narrative got switched quick. It went from him in terms of police brutality to disrespecting the flag and the troops.
Yes, exactly. And look, our political system and our political leaders had a hand in switching that, but I think people wanted to see that happen. And here's where I slowly but steadily fell off with Colin, is that Colin never tried to get control of the narrative. He never tried to go out there and say, look, this is what it's about. This is why
he never talked.
Yeah. He never talked. Exactly. And I just did a podcast with Derek Rose, and Derek admitted that he ran into the same issue, and he did it because he didn't trust the media. Because and Colin had the same experience. While he was playing, he was criticized, and he didn't want to open up to people that he thought looked at him. He thought there was a racist element to it. He thought that he was a young black kid, and there were white people in the media that were looking at him and judging him and expecting him to behave a certain way. And he was thinking, if I act the way you think I should act, I'm going to feel like I'm not upholding where I came from. The people that I grew up with are going to look at me as a sellout.
Derek thought that?
Derek thought that. And so he said, I'm not going to talk to the media. I'm not going to give them what they want, because they're saying all this bad stuff about me in the papers. I see it. I hear them on TV. I see all this. So I'm not going to be nice to you in front of the cameras and play the game. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do anything. I'm going to be reluctant whenever I have to talk. And he says now he looks back at it and realizes that was a mistake, because it allowed other people to take up the narrative, and it allowed the negative things said about him to have a life of their own.
Right, because they don't know, so this is going to make stuff up.
Exactly. And so and he was not countering any of it.
Right.
And I feel like Colin allowed the same thing to happen, but he hasn't learned the lesson that Derek did. Like, one of the reasons Derek was doing the podcast with me, and we went into a bunch of different stuff, was he was like, because this is probably the most you ever heard me talk. And I go, yeah. And it was really refreshing, because I knew Derek back then when he was going through the knee issues and everything. I knew who he was. I knew his love for the game. I knew that he had gone to the wall and played with all sorts of injuries and had his body break down. And so when he came back, he was like, I got to approach this a different way, because I need to get to the finish line. I'm trying to win a championship. So I knew that he wasn't sitting out because like he was just stealing money or that he didn't want to play. It was more the other. Like, I want to be able to play and finish. And I couldn't. And my body betrayed me. So I got to try to do this a different way. I understood that. But most people did not. And it was because I'd had an opportunity to kind of get to know him. So this is my distinct. This is why I'm kind of like, I'm completely off where Cap is, because even now, we don't know where Cap's head is. Like, why is he doing this workout? What changed? Why is he accepting of the NFL now? What happened with the settlement with the NFL? Like, you guys were battling and then you settled, and it was for money, but not that much money? Was this part of the deal? Like, at this point, I need to know where Cap stands for me to buy in to what his original cause was.
Right. Nobody. That's why anytime I get asked to speak about it, I'm always unsure because I don't know the truth.
Right.
You know, I'm not being like cynical or whatever, but I feel like there's a chance where let me be cynical and create a story because I don't know, like we just talked about.
Right.
I almost saw the situation where I knew how Cap was before. Superstar, you know, everybody loved him, you know, went out like just this superstar celebrity type of guy. And then all of a sudden you just start seeing him, you know, first he sat on the bench.
Right.
You know, and then obviously meeting with Nate Boyer turned into a Neil. And then all of a sudden it's like now, you know, now he's all about politics and taking a stand and justice and all this stuff. When I didn't know that's how he was. Nobody, was he like that before? I don't know. I can't say yes or no, but from what I saw, no, he wasn't like that before. Until he was with Eric Reed, who was all about that. He was really about that life, and then his girlfriend Nessa, who was about that too.
Right.
You know, so it almost looked like that he did it to support, but then when people looked at him like, "Oh, this is Colin Kaepernick taking a stance."
Right.
Now he's like, "Oh man, I was just doing it to support." So now I really gotta not be all about it. How do I go all about it? Because when you look at people, let's go into the history. Let's look at the Jim Browns. Let's look at Muhammad Ali. Like those guys were vocal about it.
Right. Right.
You know, they were really about that life. They
and
were
look,
vocal.
And he mishandled it at the start. He had some missteps. But I felt like what he was trying to do or what he was trying to bring attention to was good and more important than criticizing him for the missteps. Like, let's not use the missteps as an excuse not to look at the validity of what he's trying to draw attention to. That was my feeling then. And I also felt like, you know what, he's still kind of young. And if he took missteps, I'm going to attribute it to his youth. Well, but this is like 4 or 5. He's 32 years old now. My feeling is I look at him in a different way. You should have learned some lessons about how this works. And I think what really bothers me is that, again, the issues that he's trying to bring attention to are legitimate issues in this country. But when you, and I may be veering out of my lane a little bit in saying this, but I feel it needs to be said. And I was actually going to say it on the show today. Just the opportunity, conversation didn't flow in the right direction.
It never does.
Well, yeah. But the point I wanted to make is when a man of color, when a minority,
man of color is good,
screws up, a making a statement or supporting a cause like this, it's the same as Jussie Smollett. Like, it does 10 times the damage because it gives everybody who wants to dismiss the issue now the opportunity to say, see, he said it was about this, but it was really about him, or was really about this, or he wasn't serious. And so you go flying right by. Yeah, but the issue that this started, like, that's still a legitimate issue. Like, that Colin screwed it up doesn't mean the issue is any less important, but it gives people the excuse to do that. It's the same as with any woman who claims to be raped or sexually abused, and then you find out, no, it was a money grab, or it was extortion, whatever it is. It's like, you know how much damage you're doing to something that is a legitimate issue in our society? And that's the problem that I have with Colin at this point, even to the point of him doing this workout. Like, what were the last 3 years about? Now it's just about, you just need to get back to playing football, and we still don't know what your relationship with the NFL is, and the issues that you had with the NFL. And it's to me, it undermines what little credibility and value this whole Colin Kaepernick episode had if he goes back and he tries out, especially since I think he's set up to fail. He's going to go try out. He's not going to look good. Nobody's going to sign him. And then everybody can look at it and say,
well, he better. 3 years, 4:30 a.m. He better.
Even, you know what? Hey,
but
working out ain't the same as playing.
At least he needs to go work out, and then it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
Well, it's going to be, I mean, one way or another, if he goes through with it, I fully expect it's going to be a done deal. It's not like we're going to see Colin Kaepernick back in the league. In fact, from what I've heard, and this is what's crazy too, I swear I saw a report where this was teams looking at him not to sign him now, but potentially for next season. I'm like, come on, he's going to be 33 years old next year.
Yeah, but
he won't have played for 4 years.
He'll be healthy.
And you're going to sign him as a backup? When you really look at him the last 4 years?
You got all off season. You got all OTAs to let him play football and find out.
So then if that's the case, why does he have to work out now? Why does he have to work out when this was just decided a couple days ago and he doesn't know who he's throwing to? And like, why the parameters?
Because that's what teams do. Literally, like this week, I have to find the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it was this week. It was November 2012. I worked out for the Seahawks. They had interest. They looked at it. This is when Sherman and Brandon Browder got in trouble. Hold on, I worked out in 2012. This is when they got in trouble for the crack cup thing, whatever, the drug test.
Right.
They signed me in April.
Okay.
I was on their list of I could play now.
Right.
But this is a good move for the offseason to bring him in here and let him compete.
Okay, I would still make the argument that your situation was a little bit different because you were still fresh from playing.
No, I didn't play that season at all.
I know you didn't play.
Oh, you mean like in terms of 3 years? I played that season.
Yes, you were still like you had just come off a season of playing.
Regardless, my whole thing was teams will work out guys now because they're building for next year.
And okay, but there's also a matter of like the whole if somebody thinks they can get a competitive advantage by signing you or signing Colin Kaepernick, do they want to do a collective workout or they want to do their own workout? They want to run their own workout. They want to run you through what they want to run you through.
But maybe they don't want that. That's the whole point. Guys don't want to show their hands, so everyone's going to show up. That's what Roger's point was. Roger was telling me that he knew like there's some sort of interest, but nobody wants to step up and say it. So it's like everyone wants to keep it quiet. Let's all go to this workout together. Let's watch this combine style where everyone's there.
Yeah.
Ran by Hugh Jackson. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And see what happens.
So you think that people are interested in Colin Kaepernick's talent?
Guys will go. They're just
nervous about being the team that actually signs him.
Guys will go anywhere and look. They want to look.
Well, again, but couldn't they have done that at any point? How are they protected just because it's a collective look?
Yes.
But what are they protected from? Colin?
Themselves. They just don't want to say anything.
Okay,
they don't want to say anything.
But what is it they're afraid of? And if somebody had worked him out,
I'm not even saying this. I'm not even saying like afraid. That's just what it is, man. Like period. Like there's nothing.
I just feel
nothing
like
to justify.
If he's that radioactive, if you're that fearful of having your name tied to Colin Kaepernick, that the only way you'll go watch him practice or watch him work out is if it's league run and there are other teams there and there's safety in numbers, then you still have to cross the threshold of if you're going to sign him, you now become the team that jumps out and signs him. And it sounds like people are still scared of that.
Then it is. I think it's a matter of there's no true, like, we want to look at him now on our own for our sake.
Yeah.
It's like if we're going to get a workout in a controlled setting, sure, we'll check it out. There are guys that go somewhere in the Midwest you never heard of because they want to look at some guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
So if there's a workout for Kaepernick in a controlled setting, there's enough people on every team where you can send somebody there to check it out, and there's going to be a video.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Like, everybody's going to see this. So
at the end of the day, this all could have been avoided had his girlfriend not sent out that Django tweet about Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner. At the end of the day, it's all could have been avoided.
And
because if anybody would have gave him a chance, it would have been Greg Roman to sign him in a backup role on that team.
Yeah.
But because of that tweet of Ray Lewis hugging Steve Bisciotti, paired in the same tweet with Samuel Jackson hugging Leonardo DiCaprio from the movie Django. And then also, too, not to mention, don't you think every owner will have that guy's back?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, for sure.
You did that to one of our guys. Like,
sure.
Come on. And then, and the timeline.
Yeah. And if you did it to him, what's the chances you could do it to us?
Right. So that was August where she put that tweet out.
Yeah.
October 2017 is when he filed grievance. So then you set yourself back even more. Now you're suing the league.
Well, see, that's the thing. You file the grievance. You file the grievance. You're at odds with the NFL. Then you resolve your odds with the NFL. Now, but you're still out there and you're an advocate. And your concern is social justice. But now I'm gonna take part in this tryout that is not designed by me, that the NFL is totally controlling. Like that whole Django thing, I don't know. This feels, if that's how you really feel, then this feels like that
he didn't put that out though. She did.
Yeah, but it's not like they're not still together. I mean, he's never disavowed what she put out there.
She put that out, not him.
Dude, it does not matter.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
It does.
Unless Colin, like, okay.
It hurt him because they're affiliated. Yes, they're together, so it did hurt him. But the fact that it didn't come from his actual account is why he's getting a workout on Saturday.
I don't know about that. The fact that he hasn't been in the league is because he's still connected with her and never disavowed what she put out there. He never even went so far as what Michael Vick had to at one point with his brother, which is to say, that's my brother. That's not mine. But you know how this works. When Marcus Vick talks and talks bad about the Eagles, the assumption is he got that because of something that, some conversation that he had with Michael. That's the assumption unless something is said. And even if something is said, you're just disavowing it. There's still going to be people who don't necessarily buy it. But at least you go to the point where you say, hey, look, that wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. That was my brother. And then you have a good talk with your family and your friends. And you go, look, don't mess up my gig. Don't speak for me.
That probably happened when they had the settlement.
Okay, well, that needed to be public. Because that's still hanging. Yes, it did. Unfortunately, yes, it did.
No, you.
Well, if
it be public that he apologized for the tweet.
For me to understand where Colin, if Colin Kaepernick is asking me to support his cause, then I need some clarity on what his cause is and everything that he's been through, so that I can still buy in to the genuineness or the sincerity. Okay, you're right. I can not care, and I can say, you know what? As far as I know, Colin believes what she believes, and this whole thing's a ruse. I could go full Jason Whitlock and say,
you don't gotta go Jason Whitlock. You can just see it. It is what it is. All right.
Yeah, but
if I run into him, if I run into Colin, he's like, yo, Will, I need you to support me on this. I'm like, all right, I need some details. Now I need some. I'm listening. Okay. I'm here. I need some details. Well, I don't have that genuine interest where I'm like, I really want to go there and support. No, as the movement as a whole, how people are supporting and going for justice for police brutality,
right.
I respect it. I'm all for it. But like whatever he's doing, I don't know what he's doing, so I can't really go and support or say what I want to say.
So here's
in
the
that
thing.
regard.
For me, I thought I knew, and for several years on the radio, I supported him, in spite of people being critical.
See, that's why. That's why you're upset.
That's right. That's you're right. That's why you're exactly right. That's why I'm upset, because I supported his cause.
Do I think he should play? Absolutely. I think he should play.
I don't care whether he plays or not.
I think he should. I'm talking about, do I support him in terms of, do I think he deserves to play? Yes, I think he deserves to play.
I think he deserves to play too.
Now, do I support whatever he's doing? I don't know what he's doing. So that's all you.
Well, you know what? We're going to find out. We're going to find out whether he plays or not.
Does he play this year?
I don't think he's going to play.
Does he play this year?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe that he will. I'm still not convinced that he's ever going to be signed.
That's fair.
And so then this workout just basically allows everybody to dismiss everything that was talked about. For the
like,
last
man, get this man a workout so we can be done with this.
Yeah. And so, and then
that's
people.
That's not what he said. That's my assumption. That's how I look at it.
No. I know. And with that, people will bury what started this all, which was that blacks are treated unfairly in this country by the police. That will be lost as a result. The people that there will be a healthy number of people will say, "See, that was all just bull," and it wasn't, and it's not. But this will give them the allowance to say that. So, all right, that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackmon. Man, we started off light and we ended up heavy. Woo!
Really quick though.
Yes.
I'm gonna tease it.
Okay.
Melo to the Blazers.
Okay. You're teasing it. I mean, it happened.
What do you think? No, I'm saying you're probably going to talk about it tomorrow, yeah?
I will talk about it in the next podcast.
Yeah, see?
Yes. And I'm actually going to catch up. I'm going to catch up with the Blazers for another story that I'm working on. So I'll have some boots on the ground insight on what Melo with the Blazers looks like. I'm very interested. I'm glad to see him get another shot.
I am too.
Blazers, as good a place as any. I don't know if they need frontline help in the worst way. I don't know if Melo necessarily addresses what they need, but maybe. I mean, he's non-guaranteed, low risk addition of talent. It can't hurt. I'm glad that he's getting a shot.
He's going to play, get warm. They might release him January, goes to the Lakers, gets a ring.
Here we go. No. Nobody gets warm and gets released. No, nobody gets warm nobody gets warm in Portland. All right. That does it. And now you know what we will be discussing in the next podcast. Don't forget, wherever you get your podcast, please rate us on iTunes or wherever it is, and just screenshot the rating and send it to @BucherFriends, and you will be eligible to win your choice. Either Derrick Rose's latest, his biography. I will see that gets autographed. You'll get an autographed copy. Or my book with Yao Ming, for those who are interested in why the NBA finds itself in this situation with China, shall we say. The book gives you great insight into the difference in cultures and the political and business ramifications that Yao faced and that the league is still dealing with. All right. As always, for Will, for myself, thanks for listening.